and you witness this, and it like really freaks you the fuck out.
You're alone again. I shouldn't be thinking of you, thinking of me. I know.
Hey everyone, this is Mike, and this is the Daily Bread podcast run by myself, and it's a podcast where I talk about life stuff. And it's weird. It's weird because if I look at any of the topics that I do, a lot of them are pretty serious, and I talk about them in a very casual tone. It's not like I get over dramatic about shit. Like, talked about my dad, talked about my divorce, talked about being like a fat kid, and I haven't this whole thing like really wasn't planned out. It was just something I thought of back in, I think it was January when I started this, because I did the comic for a while, and I felt like it just made sense to talk about my life, even though the comic, some of them are like, funny posts or sarcastic or whatever it is, and then this is like kind of dives into like a serious thing. So I haven't figured out where this all comes together, but I think that the root of it is just me expressing myself, and I think that I guess I'm prefacing this for today's topic because it was something that has been going on just for a little bit, and it's something that is interesting and difficult to share because it's just been intense and it's really new. And I thought, and I guess the reason I'm expressing it is because I'm looking for, I guess like saying it out loud kind of relieves the stress. And I also hope that there's people listening or people listening that know of people who aren't listening that have this issue going on at home with their pet. And I'm hoping that it leads somewhere because I think just keeping it in, it makes me very stressed. It makes me very depressed. Not like depressed, but like it's just like I think just it's very stressful. And I think other people out there are probably going through the same thing because when I'm doing research about this topic, I haven't found really anything that where people are sharing their stories. So I thought that maybe I'd start it. And it doesn't really make sense potentially because it's connected to a web comic, but who fucking cares? It's just something that I needed to put out there. And I hope through this, maybe other people have answers or can, give me some answers about what it's like to live with a dog who is having seizures and what that life is like what my life is going to look like, living like this, and yeah, just give me some clarity or like trying to relieve the just the time bomb I feel like I'm living with. So the story or the truth of it is I've witnessed my dog. I have a Boston Terrier, Portland, and he's about 2.5 years old. He's absolutely crazy. He just loves to play. When I leave, I feel really bad every day because I work about 2 blocks from my apartment, so I get to come home midday and take him out for a walk, and then come home later on. And he's got so much energy that I feel when I leave, he just looks at me like, "What the fuck, man?" And it stresses me out in that sense as well because I feel like it kind of weighs on my psyche when I leave because I'm like, I need to go and work and I need to go do things, and I can't have him with me because all he wants to do is run around and play, and I can't balance that. So I think anyone out there who has a dog, you feel like a little bit of guilt when you leave them home. But I do have a dog walker. She's awesome, and her name's Heather. She does dog walking in Raleigh. So if you live in Raleigh, you should hire her. And so she comes like once a week or once every other week and takes him. And every Saturday I drop him off at a pup stay out in Raleigh, and he gets to run around. So he just always wants to run. And recently, I witnessed him have a seizure. I had woken up and he was on my lap, and he just started convulsing. And I it was just like I didn't know what to do. And my first reaction, which I've read since then, which is the worst reaction, is that I put my hand in his mouth. I don't know why, because I just came out of a dead sleep, and he woke up and just started to go. So I'm like kind of hazy, and that was just my reaction, which I read is the worst thing you could do. And the reason it's the worst thing you do is because their mouth clamps down so hard. And I think I was just trying to make sure he wasn't swallowing his tongue or he was breathing, and just that's my go-to, and it just shredded my fingers. I had to like literally like pry his mouth open as he's convulsing, get my hand out, and then I put him on the floor because I didn't want him to fall on the ground, and he's just like completely like crunched up and just shaking, and then it stops, and you are witnessing this, and you didn't know it was going to happen. You think, okay, I thought I'd never ever see this. I didn't even know this was ever going to happen to the space I'm in my life where my dog is literally having a seizure. And you witness this, and it like really freaks you the fuck out because you don't know what to do. And so I ended up bringing him to the vet. And I go online. First thing I do is go online, and I'm like, what the fuck is it supposed to do? And what I read, it's like, if it happens, don't worry. It's sometimes it just happens randomly in dogs. It could be all these things, but if it is epilepsy, there's no cure. There's nothing you can really give them. It just you kind of just gives you no real answers of what is you can do. Now, if your dog had a broken leg or was cut, that you'd have to bring him to the vet, and they'd set the bone and they give him a cast, and a couple weeks it'd be healed, or months or whatever it would be. I don't know if it's months, but in a short amount of time, you're guaranteed that it was going to heal and be back to be better again. Or if they're cut, you bring them in, they stitch them up, whatever it is. Now with this, there really is no answer. So you're witnessing this, and then you're researching it. Now this is thrown into your life now, and is like this can potentially happen a lot. And I brought him into the vet, and they were like, "Has it happened a lot?" And what I said, well, the thing I've witnessed and didn't realize it is that I came home a couple times, and there was like pee spots on my couch with like foam or something. And I was like, what I've read, and since when they do convulse, they do have a seizure, they do just pee uncontrollably because their body just lets go, and they do foam at the mouth. And it's again, it's probably hard to listen to. It's intense to see. I just want to just explain to people what happens, and they're like, okay, well, it and the vet was really calm about it, which really calmed me down. And they said, this is not as uncommon as you think. They can live a very long life with this. But if it's like 30 seconds or a minute, they're fine. You just have to let them calm down, and they don't feel any pain. But if it goes like 3 minutes or past, then it can really have an effect on the brain, and that's something you have to pay attention to. And then you have to like rush them to an animal like hospital. And so you're hearing this information, but they're not really giving you any real advice. And the only thing they said is they're like, on their side, they say there is a new medication that's out that they give to humans that works really well on dogs, and it doesn't have a really bad effect. It's this old medication has had for a couple decades, I think it is, where that one would affect their liver and it would make them really drowsy and stuff. But they said that this new one it's gotten great results, but they don't want to put them on it yet. They want to see if it's gonna just kind of go away, because it could be an environmental issue. He could have eaten something. And they said, like, you can get an MRI, which costs like $8,000 or $10,000, and they said majority of the time it comes back with nothing. So they said, it's up to you to do that. I'm like, well, I can't even pay rent these days, so I'm sure as fuck not going to be going and spending $10,000 on an MRI. Um, and that's it. And so they said, just go home, watch him, make sure if it happens again, just bring him back and just give us a call. So it happened again. It happened again just like a couple days ago, and it was 30 seconds. Now, the key is they say that when it happens, you should get your phone out real quick and time it to know exactly how long it lasted. And then when it's done, you should record the date, what time it happened, how long it lasted for, and just kind of give some notes on the surrounding of the situation. And for me, I had taken him to daycare, and I brought him home, and he was on the couch. We're sitting down, and within maybe a half hour, he just kind of looked at me, and I saw that look in his eye, and he just started going. So it's like now when it happens, I am calm, and I'll place him on the floor so he doesn't fall off the couch, and then just kind of just you sit there calmly with him, and you pet them, or like just don't keep your hand away from their mouth, and you just stay very calm. And so I started counting because I couldn't get to my phone, so I counted to like 30 40 seconds, and then he slowed down, and he just is completely out of it. And then he gets up, and I try to treat it as if to not show him that something fucked up just happened, and it keeps him well, like really calm. And he's still out of it. He still like walks around like what the fuck, and you're kind of like it's okay, and you just kind of like you ignore that it happened, but you're like lovey to them and just don't let them know. It's like if your kid falls when they're an infant and you just overly freak out, like it's gonna make them freak out. So it's kind of like the same thing. So now I'm bringing him in this week because I called the vet and they said, okay, we have an appointment here, and they don't. If it was like they're like if this was over 3 minutes, you should rush him to the ER or like a um, not the ER, like the 24-hour dog hospital, whatever. That's like triple the cost, and that weighs on you like fuck. It's just like that kind of creeps you out, and I have like pet insurance, thank God. But they're like, okay, well, bring him in Tuesday, watch him. Happens again, just let us know. And he's been fine, and he has all this energy afterwards. It's like it happens, it's freaky, it's awful to watch, and then he just like is okay, like goes on with his day. But the worst part is that again, now when I'm bringing him back there, I don't know if we're gonna put him on this medication, which basically he has to have for the rest of his life. I don't know how well it's going to work, even though the doctor says it's great. It still means he's still going to have seizures for, the next, 10, 12 years of his life, is like in dog years because he's 2.5. If he, that's like kind of life expectancy, which is so weird to think. And it's all now it's like, even as I'm recording this, he's in the other room and I'm just thinking like, is it happening right now? Or when I go to work, all I'm thinking about the whole time is he having one now? Because it could be happening. And if he is happening, it is happening. You know, I don't, I can't stay home and be home like 24 hours a day. Like I just can't do that. And the shit just really weighs on you, and you don't really know what to do. Again, there's no like, it is just this time bomb. It could happen fucking randomly, and it's just very nerve wracking. And I just wanted to again make this recording about it because I just feel so like lost or not lost. I feel like just almost like isolated because I don't really know anyone who's going through this. And I did find out there's friends of mine who have this issue with their pup, and it's happened like it's like every couple months or like every 3 months or 4 months or something. It like will happen, and they were saying like the doctor said specifically why it's probably happening to their dog, and with my guy to see that this is happening a lot, way more than a couple months, that's nerve wracking. So it's like I go to work, and before he had this, I was just felt really bad and guilty that he's home alone all day and he's like bored. And now I feel guilty because he's bored, and then he's is he gonna have a fucking seizure? And it just it's just really fucking intense, and it's adding a lot of stress onto my life, and that plus the fact that I'm trying to dig myself out of debt, and I'm trying to like get more business, and business has been slow since January and it's now July, and it's just like I can't get gigs into this whole year, and I don't blame the year. It's just it's almost laughable of what like the situation I'm in, not taking away from anyone else's situation in their life, and this is more intense than theirs, but just it's in front of my face. And I just feel like expressing it helps get it out because if I hold it in, it's like I'm walking around just looking at people going like just living in my head. And yeah, it's crazy. Um, so I don't know if there's anyone listening, if you have a dog who does have seizures, like I'd love to know about it. You could just, message me through like you could email me Mike at yourdailybread.com, or you can message me on Facebook, if we're friends, or you can just message me through the Instagram because I'd love to know how you're dealing with it, or if you know people dealing with it, I'd love to be connected to them. I would love, or if you're going through this and you haven't told anyone, or you're kind of just something you live with, then maybe this is helpful to you to hear that someone else is going through this. So I think that this whole episode isn't about a woe is me thing. It's just this is just a fact, and I needed to express it because I think that it's going to be helpful in some way. Like selfishly, I hope it's helpful for me to learn how to deal with this or live with this. And is it possible? And what am I getting myself, or no, I guess like what am I looking forward to now? And maybe it's helpful to other people to hear that someone's going through this and they're feeling the same exact fucking way. And I obviously get it, and it's super hard. Um, so I mean, that's pretty much it. Again, I don't really know the balance here of writing a comic about stupid things I think about and then talking about a real heavy topic like this. And I mean, maybe who's going through this has realized that it felt this way in the beginning, and they've gone through it for years, and they're like, yeah, it just gets better, and it's really not as bad as you think. And here's some great pointers on how you can get through this. Or like here's the medications that we use, or we don't use medications, we use CBD oil, we start feeding them this food, this worked really well. Like I need someone who's gone through it, not people guessing, because I've talked to people who are, you know, quote unquote experts in um, like f eating or nutrition, and they give me their take on it, and other people give me their take that it's not grains, and then people say it is grains. And it's like I want someone who's going through it, who says this is the diet we put them on, and this is what we're going through, and this is what's been really helpful. So yeah, um, that's it. That's all I really wanted to talk about. And if you do, like I said, please email me or message me if you are going through this, or can connect me with someone who's going through this, or if you have any good information out there with that you've read that's been successful. But I'd really like to just talk to people who are going through this. So Mike at yourdailybread.com, and that is all.